Greetings and welcome back, Blade fans. This Old Sword's with you once again. And hey, what is that on the table? That's not the knife you came to see, is it? Well, no, but it's there for contrast. And that is the Goliath. But that's also a Goliath. This one, by the way, happens to be the Bowie version and not the original version. I can't locate the original version. I've got it around with the drop point, but we'll bring this guy back in a moment. What we want to show you today is what I'm calling a special edition because they're just calling it the Goliath. And they had been the Goliath 2 because there was a Goliath 1. I think now they're just back to calling it the Goliath. But check this out. A 4.3-inch blade, stone-washed in none other than S90V and a beautiful titanium bolster. Stainless, I believe, matched to some really, really nice carbon fiber. If you like carbon fiber, it's on both sides of the knife. And we've got a milled titanium pocket clip because I don't think there's too many of us that like this original clip. Yuck. They're pretty close to the same shape, but this pressed metal, sheet metal, and I think it's actually, yeah, it's actually titanium, but it's kind of a sheet punched out titanium, whereas this one is a milled titanium. So we'd like to see them maybe go to a folded over clip or something a little bit nicer. Do have a titanium bolster on this guy. This knife probably is going to come in a little heavier. It feels heavier right out of the box. In fact, the box felt heavy when it came in the mail. So this one comes directly from White Mountain Knives. You might still be able to pick one up there. And if not, put your email address in and you'll be notified if and when they restock. So we've got some pretty effective jimping that isn't too sharp, but definitely drags and holds your thumb in place. We have a hidden lanyard backspacer, very nice, that goes right through to the pommel. And look at that Damascus bolster, really, really nice. The flipper tab becomes a guard, a little bit of one, actually, more than a little bit of one. We've got a finger groove or choil here, whatever you'd like to call it. You can sneak your finger forward on that platform, but you may not want to. You've got a pretty well-defined sharpening choil there with a straight, pretty much straight plunge grind that falls right into the middle of it. High flat grind, nothing but a flat grind on this. No flats, just the grind. And seems to come through pretty sharp. Not aware of the HRC on this. That's always a big question lately for some of the higher end steels as to how much they harden it. Perhaps you can find out. I know very typically with M390 makers like this, from like Maxace, have been talking 59 to 60. I recently received a fixed blade knife in Magna Cut that was by the RMJ company, and they are actually advertising that Magna Cut to be 62 to 63. We'd like to see S90V in that range as well, because you're making best use of the steel. All right, let's do some measurements. It isn't going to be a small knife. Maxace is known for making large knives, and they're even budget large knives. When I say budget, I mean just a bit over 100. So we've got, I'm going to call it 10.15 overall. That is big, isn't it? And what did I say, 413? No, we're getting 4.5 inches to the bolster. We're actually cutting edge getting like 4.65. Wow. It is a big one. And we're set to inches, so let's do the handle first. 0.69. It is not thin, but it is nicely domed and contoured. We'll take another look at that in a minute. Blade stock 0.15. Looks like that's going to be 4 millimeters. We'll see. 4.1 millimeters. Finally, the weight. And I know you've been waiting for the weight, and you've been waiting for me to do a pun about the weight. Here we go. And it is not a lightweight at 7.5 ounces. Just for comparison, let's put this guy on the scale. And we've got 8.5 ounces. So I was fooled. This is a heavier knife. Very interesting. So one thing I didn't do, let's get the scale out of the way. One thing I didn't do, yeah, those are steel. So that is Damascus Steel bolsters. And so I expected that to be heavier. This is an ounce heavier. And they're really the same size knife, the same profile, the Goliath profile. Got a bowie blade on that. Could be the grind. Yep. Could be that that thickness is maintained through that flat there, and we're taking away less material there. And we've got a high flat grind on this guy. I'm going to say that that's what it is. Also, we've got some weight relieving here. Maybe that's also what it is. Oh, let's turn that down a little bit. Definitely got weight relieving in there. Do we have weight relieving here? Yes, we do. Same weight relieving. So I'm going to attribute the extra weight to the grind type. Now, there are other large Maxace knives. You may be familiar with the Sandstorm. And the Sandstorm is right on the same length overall as the Goliath. You know, they're sort of building them in the same size range, even though this is a completely different profile. We've got kind of the rock pattern going on G10 here. This is K110 for the steel. It has a flat that's satin finished and a nice stone washed, almost a bead blast, I would say. More of a bead blast on this guy, kind of grayish, and more of a stone wash here with a little bit of a glimmer to it. Blades are pretty much the same. And this guy, only difference is it's got this turret type lock on it. Double lock, which yeah, some people like, some people don't like. I'd say mostly they don't. So 7.5, what did I say? 6.5 ounces. Did I say 6.5? Early in the morning. I'm forgetful. My excuse. So 7.5. Yeah. And the Goliath in the bowie blade was heavier. I'm trying to turn the scale off there on the side. Sorry, folks. How about up against, as if it were a contest, another large knife, Vosted Gator in the sheep's foot variation. It's actually shorter because this is coming in just a skosh over 4 inches, I believe. It is shorter overall with a blade about a 1/2 inch shorter, roughly. A lighter knife, though. definitely feels lighter. Won't get into weighing up everything, but I do have a review out on this one and the Warncliffe version. There's 2 gators out there by Vosteed. Beautiful 3-way opening with this guy. You've got the back flipper, got the front flipper, and it works for me. And we've got the thumb hole, which can be reverse flicked, deep carry clip, reversible, frag pattern on the micarta, actually, not G10. Let's take another look around this beauty, though. Big and beautiful. Yes, it is. And these are coming in around 2 1/4 from White Mountain. Don't forget, you can get 10% off by using my discount code OLDSWORD, all one word. As I said, nice jimping, tall blade, tapers at the end, very useful EDC style blade on the original Goliath 2. Not talking about the Bowie, we're talking about the style blade. Nicely done clip that goes in and out of the pocket very nicely across that smooth carbon fiber. It's not a polished carbon fiber, but it is smooth. We got this nice stepped millwork going on here that follows right through to the bolster. Got pretty plain pivots with, what do we got? Yeah, the surrounds are silvery kind of as well. And once again, I don't have my kit nearby, but we're going to assume, for sake of assumption, that these are all T8. If that's important to you, I can check it out later on. You can ask me questions in the notes, in the comments. Got Maxace branding there. I mean, it's grayish. It's not too bad. I got a custom Knife Factory Trezola design that where they billboarded it kind of heavy on the clip. But we have the option of getting a extra clip for 50 bucks. And if you don't want the, not on this guy, but on the Trezola. Fairly minimal grayish branding there with the name of the knife and the steel. And nothing on the show side. So that's great, really. Liner lock, not a frame lock, which is interesting. And pretty much right out of the box, drop shut action. Really, really nice. Probably it sounds a little dry. Sounds like you could put a little KPL in there and make it even smoother. But if it's like that after maybe only 10 or 15 openings since I got this knife, maybe 20, then it's going to be even better over time for sure. On bearings, got your jimping in there. Got a nice, I'd say perfectly adequate release or relief that allows you to access the liner. Got jimping on the liner, fairly thick liners. And those liners are titanium, so the entire frame is titanium, steel blade, and steel bolster. And finally, as we always like to compare around here, the Griptilian. Oh, tiny little guy. And yes, you know what's coming next. How about, if I can unearth it, a little messy on the table here. The Rat 1. Oh, the Rat 1's hurting. Oh yeah, this is a ginormous knife next to the Rat 1. Definitely. So if you like them big and you like them pretty, if you don't like them pretty, you can get the standard regular old Goliath or Sandstorm with a titanium bolster, and a titanium clip, although not a pretty one. You can get this for, I think, around 110 to 120, somewhere in that range. And so really talking $100 more for this to get lots of premium material. S90V, Damascus bolster, and some really nice carbon fiber if you're into it. No other variants of this one that I'm aware of, but you never know. And this is fairly recent release from Maxace. White Mountain just got them in. I was actually considering getting this from Maxace as I had some other knives. But and Maxace will be sending me some knives for review, so I'm waiting to see what happens there. So far, I did get the Hellcat, which was a Bally song, and may see more coming from Maxace. I'll let you know when they arrive. Will you all be well, and don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe. I'll be back soon.